Hey Jey Uso fans, I've got some disappointing news for you all in this video. And, to be honest, straight up as a fellow Jey Uso fan, I'm disappointed as well. I just want you to brace yourself for this one, because Jey Uso has finally done something big. But it's not all smooth sailing from here. Let's break it down. Jey Uso has won the Intercontinental Championship, which is a huge accomplishment. No doubt. But here's where it gets tricky, he's still in a feud with Braun. That's not necessarily a bad thing, though, because Braun is an intense competitor, and this rivalry could give us some great matches. But let's rewind a bit. Braun initially won the Intercontinental Championship by defeating Sami Zayn, and now, Jey Uso has taken it from Braun. It's a significant moment for Jey, who's been on a hot streak lately, moving up in the ranks and establishing himself as a force to be reckoned with. But now we're seeing this feud with Braun continue as WWE gears up for its next big event, Crown Jewel on November 2nd in Saudi Arabia. From there, we head straight into Survivor Series, and with all that's going on with Jey, there are a lot of moving parts we need to consider. First off, Braun has teased that everything is fine between him and Jey Uso. He endorsed Jey as a babyface, which seemed to indicate that their rivalry was over. But then, just like that, Braun turns on Jey Uso, and he's back to being the vicious heel we all know he can be. Personally, I love it. Braun is a fantastic heel, he brings an intensity and edge that makes every match exciting, but he's also proven he can be a good babyface, as we saw in his time on NXT. But what does all this mean for Jey Uso? There are some big questions here. When do we get the rematch with Braun? More on that in a minute. Does Jey stay solo, or does he reunite with the Bloodline? That's another huge question looming over this whole situation. Now that we're heading into Survivor Series, there's a real possibility that Jey Uso could align with his brother Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns to take on the new Bloodline faction, which includes Solo Sikoa and a yet-to-be-revealed third member. A Survivor Series men's War Games match practically writes itself, doesn't it? Imagine Jey rejoining the Bloodline, standing alongside Jimmy and Roman to take on this new version of the group. But it's not that simple. Could Jey Uso instead team up with Sami Zayn and go against his own family? There's some potential there as well, especially with the history between Jey and Sami. Lots of questions here, and honestly, I'm excited to see where WWE takes this story. So, when does Jey Uso get his rematch with Braun? Do they face off at Crown Jewel? Do we get a War Games match at Survivor Series? Or does WWE have something else planned for Saturday night's main event, which is reportedly taking place in December? I've got some answers for you, but I'll warn you, you might not like what I have to say. According to Uncle Dave Meltzer, who reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the top matches planned for Crown Jewel have already been revealed. We know that Gunther, the World Heavyweight Champion, will be taking on Cody Rhodes, who is the undisputed WWE Champion. That's going to be a big one, obviously. We've also got a Women's World Championship match between Liv Morgan and Nia Jax, which is sure to be an intense battle. But what about Jey Uso? Well, according to Meltzer, Jey Uso will not be wrestling Braun at Crown Jewel. That's right, no rematch for Jey at this event. It's not that Jey won't be on the card at all, but it doesn't look like we'll see him defend the Intercontinental Championship against Braun in Saudi Arabia. Instead, Russell Purist has reported that the rematch between Jey and Braun is actually being planned for a future episode of Monday Night Raw. This is where things get interesting. WWE is reportedly looking to boost ratings by putting big championship matches on Raw, and the Jey Uso vs. Braun rematch could be one of those main event matches. I'm not sure how I feel about this. On one hand, it's always exciting to see a major championship match on Raw. On the other hand, I feel like a match of this caliber deserves to be on a premium live event, not a regular TV episode. I mean, look at it this way, when you've got a big pay-per-view, or premium live event, as WWE calls them now. It feels special. There's more build-up, more anticipation, and the matches tend to be longer and more intense. On TV, you've got time constraints, commercial breaks, and you're competing with other programming like the NFL. As a result, the match might not feel as significant, even if it's for a major title. Now, don't get me wrong, Gunther vs. Cody Rhodes is going to be a fantastic match, but the Crown Jewel Championship? Honestly, no one really cares about that title. It's only going to be defended in Saudi Arabia, and it doesn't hold the same weight as the other major championships. It's more of a showcase title for those events, which is fine, but it's not the kind of match that gets people talking. On the other hand, a Jey Uso vs. Braun Breaker rematch for the Intercontinental Championship? Now that's something I can get excited about. There's so much potential there. Do they keep the title on Jey? Or does Braun win it back? Could we see some kind of interference or a controversial finish? Maybe Jimmy Uso gets involved, or the Bloodline makes their presence felt. There are so many angles WWE could take with this, and that's what makes it so interesting. But if WWE decides to put this match on Raw instead of Crown Jewel, I worry that it won't get the attention it deserves. As I said earlier, Monday Night Raw has its limitations. Sure, you can have a great match on TV, but it's not the same as having it on a premium live event. There's a difference in how the match is presented, and how much time the wrestlers are given to tell their story in the ring. Personally, I think WWE should have Jey Uso defend the Intercontinental Championship against Bron Breakker at Crown Jewel. It's a big match, and it deserves a big stage. Plus, with the way WWE has been handling its premium live events lately, they've been keeping the cards relatively short, which allows each match to feel more important. That's something Triple H has done really well. He's made these events feel special by only having 5 or 6 matches per card, depending on the event. But if WWE does decide to hold off on the rematch until Raw, I'll still be watching. I just hope they give the match the time it deserves and don't rush it due to time constraints or commercial breaks. At the end of the day, premium live events are where the best matches happen. They're where the biggest moments occur, and they're what keep us fans coming back for more. That's why I believe Jey Uso vs. Bron Breakker should happen at Crown Jewel, not on a random episode of Raw. What about you? What are your wrestling viewing habits? Do you watch Raw every week, or do you prefer to wait for the premium live events like I do? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video.